Hi guys, Point Horror Book Club night. Take 2, because it's the first time I was out of sync. So we've been reading The Diary by Sinclair Smith. Hopefully I'm not out of sync now. Fingers crossed. Right, let me add in Georgia and Cynthia. Hopefully that'll be better. I've just boosted my internet as well, so I'm hoping that will work. Oh dear, it's not letting me add people. 1 second. So yeah, we're going to be chatting about The Diary by Sinclair Smith. And as I said earlier, I've got my personal diary with all my personal notes in. But yeah, it's not. Oh, here we go. Right. Now, yay! Tell me if I'm out of sync in the comments. Hopefully I'm okay. Hi Cynthia!
Hi.
Hello, we're back. Hi Georgia!
Hello.
Hello. Hopefully, let me know in the comments if I'm out of sync. I've just boosted my internet, so hopefully that will sort it. But I was just saying I've got my personal diary
Very nice.
with my manicured hands in the nice red colour. And yeah, so we were saying George has had a haircut shockingly short, and oh, looks all in sync now, brilliant, yay! And Cynthia's wearing tangerine tease lipstick. Whoop whoop!
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful, beautiful.
And I would never normally wear pink, so just changing my style.
Well, I like it.
Shockingly strange.
Yeah.
Did you remember buying it, Georgia?
Oh, well, you know, I found it in the back of my wardrobe and it still has the tags on.
Oh no.
Oh dear. Charlie's put, there's a lipstick called Tangerine Tease. It's a little bit of an in Point Horror joke. It's more a drink, Tangerine Tease, wasn't it? But we're going with that it is that lipstick. Yes.
I had an orangey red lipstick, so I thought it was appropriate.
It was very appropriate, very appropriate. And we were just saying earlier, it's Sharon in the comments it's her first time joining us for Point Horror Book Club. So welcome, welcome. Yay.
Hi.
So this was the second Sinclair Smith Point Horror that we've read for Point Horror Book Club this year. We didn't read any Sinclair Smith last year, and then this year this is our second one. So we read Dream Date at the start of the year in February, and that was interesting. And then obviously we've read this one, and in last month in the short story anthology, we read a short story called Hacker by Sinclair Smith, and that was to do with the dead bodies in potted plants. So that was an interesting one. And this evening we have not one but 2 brilliant authors with us. Yay!
Nice.
Yay! And you've both been guests before. So we did April Fools with Cynthia before, and then we did Camp Fear with Georgia, where Georgia was actually in a tent. So you can go back and watch those. That was so funny that day because you never told me, and you just went, "I'm in a tent." I'll never forget it. It was the best thing ever. But if you don't know who these 2 brilliant authors are, we've got Cynthia Murphy, who's the author of Last One to Die, Win, Lose, Kill, Die, lots of death. And the upcoming The Midnight Game, which I'm lucky enough to have had an advanced copy of, and it is brilliant, and I loved it, and I flew through it, and it's out in January, so I think everyone should buy it because it's just brilliant. Yay!
Oh,
but yes, I'm dropping.
Too many.
Yeah, too many. Look. Nice. But yeah, Cynthia is a YA writer from the northeast of England, and she's had a long
Northwest, Shelley.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, don't go off the chat.
Don't
That's
do
my. Oh dear! Oh, slip of the tongue there. Yeah, northwest of England, and she has a long-standing love affair with all things scary, reading point horrors at primary school before graduating onto Stephen King, which I think might have been a path a lot of us took with our point horrors to Stephen King. And then we also have Georgia Bowers, who is author of Mark of the Wicked. So if you like all witchiness and, you know, spells and things like that, I mean, look at the cover. It's absolutely amazing. And yeah, check Georgia's book out because it's absolutely brilliant as well. And I love it. And Georgia lives in Bedford. I hope I've got that right.
Yeah.
Which is like a small market town in England. And when you were younger, you were obsessed with like two things, books and Buffy.
Yeah.
And I think those two things are good things to be obsessed with.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So you're both obviously huge point horror fans. So what got you into point horror? And has it influenced any of your writing, do you think? What do you think, Cynthia?
Yeah, definitely. I was just thinking, I can't remember the first one I ever picked up, which is a shame. I'd like to think back on the first one.
Mine was The Waitress.
Was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think I was reading them in like year 5, so I must have been about 10. Because I remember a friend in year 6 giving me The Forbidden Game, and that's been one of my all-time favourites ever since. So yeah, I was just obsessed. When I found out you could get more of them, I just read as many as I could get my hands on. And then I was in a bit of a writing slump a few years ago, and I wasn't getting anywhere with agents and stuff like that. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to write a modern point horror. In fact, Georgia, I was in a really bad writing slump, and Georgia sent me a point horror t-shirt of the cheerleader. Yeah,
oh.
And she said it might help you get your mojo back. A few months later, I sent you a point horror bag, and then we both got publishing deals within like months of each other, didn't we? Within like 3 months of each other. So
the power of point horror.
Yeah. But I kind of set out to write a modern point horror. And then I was published by Scholastic, and they called it Point Horror for the Social Media Generation. And it was just brilliant. It was like the best thing ever.
And I totally agree with that as well. It definitely is point horror. It's better than point horror. I love point horror.
Yeah,
but it is better.
This one, I hope so.
Wow. What about you, Georgia? Like, what got you into point horror all those years ago? Or
I think a friend of mine again mentioned, I think it was The Babysitter was the first one, and I think she lent it to me, and I read it, and of course it's R.L. Stein, and was completely hooked. And then the mobile library used to stop on my road, so I used to get on there with my mum, and obviously they had like shelves and shelves of them, so and you could like borrow 10 at a time. So
wow.
I just flew through them. I just absolutely loved them. And I never had a boyfriend when I was at school, and there was always loads of snogging, wasn't there? And like boyfriend drama in point horror. So I kind of lived, you know, through that, because I wasn't getting it myself. So.
Oh dear, yeah. I always say like the stalker kind of point horrors when I was younger, because evidently I obviously wanted to be stalked by like some dangerous, dodgy boy when I was younger.
It was made out like it was a bit romantic.
I know. And like now I'm older, then you know I'm definitely a bit more wiser. But oh dear. Right, let's have a look. I just saw someone ask a question.
Sorry, my seating arrangements is, look at this chair. Look, I was just sitting on a donut and that wasn't working, so I'm going to go back to the chair now.
Oh.
There we go, sorry.
Oh, bless you. Larissa's put, got it ordered, which I presume is Cynthia's new book, The Midnight Game.
Someone was asking if it's if Cynthia's published in the US as well.
Yeah. Tell us, Cynthia. Not
yet. Yeah, so they will be out in the US. So Win, Lose, Kill, Die will come out, I think maybe in December. Definitely before the end of next year. So it'll be December 23, and then the other two are going to follow it quite quickly. So it will be out in the US.
Yay! Congratulations on that.
Thank
That news was amazing. I was like, yes, Cynthia's going to take over the world. Woohoo!
Yeah, one weird murder at a time.
Lots of deaths. Karen's put the Forbidden Game. Karen loves the Forbidden Game, and we did that a few months ago with Amy McCaw. Sharon's
brilliant.
first point horror was Dream Date. Oh, bless you,
dear.
Sharon. It wasn't too bad. It was okay, but again,
Actually, I always remember that there's a bit in Dream Date where she's queuing up in the grocery store or something, and she buys magazines. I was obsessed with magazines as like an older teenager, and I blame it on that because I remember being like, "Oh, fashion magazines, that sounds cool," and then I just spent all of my money on them.
I remember that as well. Like always going to the shop to get magazines and things. Lune Nooks put, I think mine was The Watcher. That's actually quite a good. Well, it was a good one. Whether it is on a reread, I'm not sure.
Well, yeah.
I think it's about like a girl who's obsessed with like a soap opera or something.
Yes.
I'm not sure, something like that. I read it years ago, but we'll have to do that one. Let's just have a quick look. Cozy Liverpool Ho, The Babysitter was the first one, so same. Inside the Cover Babysitter. Oh, lots of people. Point Horror Book Club, Georgina's Babysitter. Point Horror Book Club, Point Horror. Nice to hear the Midland accents. Yeah. Yeah, I always say I'm like Peaky Blinders without the violence. Yeah.
Without the violence.
Yeah, right. All right, Shelley.
You don't believe it, do you? Lots of congratulations for Cynthia. And Lisa said Just 17 magazine and sugar. Yes. Oh,
I remember
memories.
In year six, I got Bliss magazine taken off me because I was reading it in the dinner hall and all the girls wanted to come and read it. And it was like a Catholic primary school. So I was like, obviously inciting rebellion. And they took the magazine and told my mum. But my mum
was that the one? Was that the one with Position of the Fortnight in it?
No, I was only in year six. I
forgot about that, you know.
No, that was like in Ms or something.
Yeah.
Might have been Ms, yeah. It was
I remember that
one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the memories. Good memories.
Yeah, such wholesome days.
Someone said Bliss magazine and More magazine.
Yeah.
Oh, so many.
More, yeah.
So many memories. Oh, I miss those days.
They had Bliss. They had a magazine taken away because it mentioned periods.
Well, if you're Catholic, you're not allowed to have periods, so that might be why.
Yeah. Oh dear.
More magazine.
More, yeah.
More magazine.
More was the naughty one, yeah.
Nikki's put like a load of shock faces. Must have been the Position of the Fortnight.
Wasn't expecting this chat tonight. Yeah.
No.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me. So onto the diary then. So, in the US, it's actually called Let Me Tell You How I Died, and it's got a really cool cover with like a skeleton hand, which sadly I don't have a copy of, but I would like to get a copy. But in the UK, it was just The Diary. So, they changed the title. So this month we joined Delia in the town of Pleasantville, USA. Pleasantville, don't you know? Apparently it's like a small little town, even though she got lost a number of times in it, which we will chat about in a little bit. But poor Delia can't stop herself from reading the diary with the red swirled cover, which was like blood swirling through water. That has mysteriously appeared in her locker at Harding High. And I had to say Harding High because of Karen. Karen's surname is Harding. So this school was named after you, Karen, in the chat. Reading. So she starts reading this diary and she's reading about someone's death. And quite often, I think she has like the handwriting looks like her own, she says. And then little by little, there are like parallels between the diary and Delia starts changing. and she becomes more and more like the girl whose words she's reading, and seeing the world as if through the dead girl's eyes. And then there's like creepy phone calls, running water on the creepy phone calls, many trips to the salon, that poor credit card bill, and realising that she has lived a life before as Laura Rawson, and had been murdered. Now, I had a few people called Laura who joined in with Point Horror Book Club, who's, funny enough, their initials are LL. So obviously before the reveal is that it's actually LR instead of LL. They were like, oh, it's LL. So yeah, shout out to all you Lauras out there. So it was an interesting read. And before we start talking about it, I want to know, do you keep a diary? Georgia, I think you do.
Really? Why do you think that? Just keep all my psychotic thoughts.
Yeah. Well, we all saw your diary with Cynthia's pictures in.
She will be mine.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I did used to keep a diary. I don't anymore, but I have kept diaries over the years, and I don't even want to look at my diary that I wrote in when I was a teenager. It would just be it would just all be about boys. I even know what boys it would be about. So Howard Keach, if you're listening. But then as I got older, I kind of lost interest a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
How about you, Cynthia? Do you keep a diary?
No, I'm way too lazy. No, I've tried so many times, and growing up, especially being a reader, it was something I really wanted to do. And I started so many, and it would just fizzle out so fast.
Yeah.
For example, when I went to, I'd lived in Hong Kong when I was at uni for 6 months, and all my work friends clubbed together and bought me this beautiful journal to be like my travel diary. And there's one entry when I got there, and the entry literally ends in, oh, and that's my new friend knocking on the door to like go out. That was it. Never wrote it again. Just went out for 6 months. It's having too much fun to actually write in it.
Oh, love that.
No. I have got some old ones again about like probably boyfriends. I do remember one like my boyfriend when I was about 16, and I was like, yes, and I am going to break up with him because we're going on the Spanish trip, so I don't think I am in love with him. It was like the most in-betweeners thing.
Oh, I love that. I definitely think I've got some old diaries from like when I was a teen, hidden away in the loft probably somewhere, which will never see the light of day because they're probably like about boys and probably very embarrassing. Specifically, one boy.
Arguments with your friends. That's yeah.
It'd be interesting to look back at them, but it was probably all about. I used to have this mad crush on David, and it was probably all about David in my diaries. Oh, he looked at me today. He passed me his pen. He fancies me. You know what it's like.
We're gonna call our children.
And like doing the little heart. Oh yeah. Perhaps it would be quite funny to dig them out.
Did you? I've got a box of letters that me and my mates used to write each other, like little notes that you'd write in class when you weren't in the same class as them, and then you'd be like, I wrote you a letter, give it to them at lunchtime. Did you used to do that?
Yeah, I think so. When we was bored in class. And then you'd be like, even though we're going to chat at lunch, here's the letter I wrote. Oh dear. And like as I say as well, like I forgot to mention your brilliant podcast as well, which is at Delete My Browser History? That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I did. You invited me to be a guest on there, and I told you like a little bit of a story from when I got detention for having the hiccups, and that was as well because I wrote a letter in class which I thought was hilarious. So I was laughing the whole way, and I got hiccups and then got into trouble. So
there you go.
If you want to hear a bit more of that and all the Point Horror stuff that we chatted about research wise.
Yeah, that was
do have a
and other things that
Piranhas.
weren't related at all as well. It was
Oh,
just
yeah.
it was a bit of a wander down the garden path, wasn't it?
Very
It was
random.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Oh dear. Yeah, Laura from our Cozy Liverpool home, I can't speak tonight, said was gutted it turned out to be LR because she's an LL. So
It
yeah.
doesn't even look like an LL on the front.
No, it does.
It doesn't even look like one, Delia.
Because do you know what? Right, I was sitting
really
there.
doesn't.
Every time she said LL, and I was thinking, well, I think that looks like an arm on the cover.
Yeah.
So I thought my eyesight was going, to be honest. But yeah. Narissa's put, I keep a memory book for funny quotes from my daughter and little keepsakes from friends. Oh, I love that.
Oh, that's a nice
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Georgina's put, I've kept a diary since I was 14. Now 39. Wow. I love that.
Yeah, that's
That's
cool.
amazing. Oh, overdue notice. I do a 1 line a day journal. Yeah, those do look quite good.
I've heard about those. I tried doing one of those when I was
tried to do one as well.
living abroad, and there were sometimes it would be, if you'd done something interesting, but there was one and it said, I remember reading back on it and it said, Richard pushed me around the garden in the wheelbarrow. Like that was the highlight of my day.
Oh dear. Sharon's put, we did letters with our top 5 boys. Overdue notice, passed notes and folded them in different shapes. Yes, I remember that.
Do you remember the
little
chatterbox?
Yeah. Oh, all the memories.
Yeah.
Melina's put, we wrote letters like that. It was a huge thing at my school. Oh yeah. I'm sure I've got like letters and stuff as well that I've kept like upstairs. But yeah, we'll have to I'll have to dig them out, and if I'm brave I might share some. But we'll see. We'll see what's in there. But yeah, it'll be about David. Everything will be about David. I was obsessed. I was like a Point Horror stalker. So the diary was quite an interesting read, to say the least. And obviously our main girl was called Delia. So we first meet Delia at her 18th birthday party, I think it was, and she seems to like be having some type of nightmare. I presume they're having a sleepover or something like that. And she's got her diary there with her, so she's took her actual diary to this party, and she's kept this diary since she was a kid, and she keeps talking about she's had these nightmares like 3 nights in a row, the same nightmare. I mean, that's quite common, right? Sometimes you do have the same nightmare, surely. Yeah.
Not in a row though. I don't think I've ever had. I've got like a recurring nightmare that I have, but I don't think I've ever had it a few days in a row.
3 days in a row. But she's got kind of like waist length hair, and it's like emphasised that she's never been to a salon, never, and she always cuts her hair herself.
Can I just say, not just she hasn't been to a salon, she hasn't been to a hair cutting salon. That's what she says.
Oh, poor Delia.
Specifically, she's very, naive about the world, and I've not been to a hair cutting salon before.
A hair cutting salon, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I'm going to call it from now on as well. Just going to the hair cutting salon, or like I'm going to the eyebrow waxing salon. Oh dear. So even though she's lived in Pleasantville like all her life, she's never heard or never been to a haircutting salon. And both of her parents were killed in a car crash. Surprise.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh dear, it's like I'm doing like a Tinder profile for her. And she now lives with her mother's sister, her Aunt Grace, and believe it or not, her favourite name is Laura. Surprise. And she's normally quite an attentive, good girl. with a possible crush I picked up on with Mr. Parrish.
Yeah.
Definitely
Well,
she was
yeah,
crushing on him.
but she said, sometimes I feel like I have a crush on him.
Oh,
Sometimes I
did she
don't.
say it?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't pick that up. I was just
yeah.
like, yeah, she's into him. She's into him, definitely. So what did you think of Delia as our main lead character, Cynthia?
Oh God, what a trip! Just she was so much more interesting as Laura, wasn't she? Can I do? I need to get my bugbear about the
Go
book out
on.
really early. So everything that happened off page.
Yeah.
Everything, like every single incident that might have been vaguely interesting, happened off page. Like when she goes shoplifting and stuff like that, and she just finds the clothes in her wardrobe because she forgets about it, and
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. So she's a bit of a non-character, like. She doesn't do
Yeah.
much, does she? And
Yeah, she forgets a lot.
yeah, and they're all just quite horrible people, really.
They really were. What did you think of her, Georgia? Did you
Yeah,
like her?
same as Cynthia. I felt like I was reading a bad Wattpad story.
Yeah.
And
There was a lot of telling, not a lot of showing.
very, very much so. And
Yeah.
Cynthia's right. There was a lot happening off the page, which is really lazy writing, because I did a lot of that with my book, and my editor told me off. She was like, "We need to see this bit. Like, it's quite an interesting bit."
Yeah.
But she was just so vacant.
Yeah.
She was just, and also not very grateful for being like with the hottest guy in school. Like, she just wasn't,
Yeah.
she didn't
Even though
realise
he
how
did that
lucky she
hanging.
was.
Brock.
Yeah, Brock. That's such a Point Horror name, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm same as Cynthia. I wasn't taken by her at all.
Yeah. For me, I agree. A lot of the stuff happens off the page. But I kind of think, yeah, it was lazy writing, but I kind of think, well, no, actually, I am a bit frustrated about it because I want to know what happened on the shopping trip. I want to know
Yeah,
what
me
she
too.
brought. I want to know what happened at the mall and stuff. So, but
Yeah.
then in another respect, I thought it kind of, because to me, it kind of read a bit like a diary. So I don't know whether that was the intention, but it kind of read a little bit like that to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a stylistic
yeah,
choice.
a little
Yeah.
bit. So, if you think about when you write in a diary, or when we did when we was younger, maybe we would just put, oh, we went to the mall, but we'd remember what we brought and stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
And my other one, no outfit descriptions.
No.
yeah, not one.
And she supposedly had gone from being really boring to like looking. I think Jules says, "You look like you've stepped out of a fashion magazine every single day." So I'm like, tell me what she's wearing. I want to know.
Yeah,
she
that's
changed her style drastically, didn't she? Yeah, you're right. But we
But
never.
for what? Like,
Yeah, what would it be? What would it look
yeah,
like?
what did she change to? Like, yeah, what did she? Did she go like high end fashion? Or
yeah, was she just getting her boobs out all the time? Like,
yeah,
Was she
Point
grungy?
Horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Was there a
Especially with
flannel
that short
shirt?
hair.
Yeah.
Oh, flannel shirt. Yeah. Oh gosh, so many unanswered questions, Sinclair Smith.
there is a lot of unanswered questions. Yeah.
But my favourite Delia moment was, well, one of my favourite Delia moments. I have quite a few, but was when I think she goes to the cemetery for some reason, which I can't remember. She's obviously, she's looking for the gravestone, isn't she, of Laura, and she sees this guy who works there, and she kind of he's wearing like a T-shirt or shirt or something that says cemetery, and she kind of goes, I thought it would feel strange to wear a shirt that said cemetery printed on it, and I was like, what? Why do you need to comment on that? Like, it was like, we don't get anything, we don't know what you brought at the mall, but we know that you'd find it strange to wear a shirt with cemetery on it. But it just made me chuckle.
Didn't she say, I thought it would be strange to wear a shirt with the word cemetery on it, and then I thought maybe not? Isn't that what she said?
Yeah,
so then she
like
just
that.
maybe again it was like a bit of a battle between the two personalities. I
Yeah.
don't know. It was very so
Yeah.
many of her
I think
quotes.
that's what it was meant to be.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it didn't quite.
No,
No.
didn't quite. Yeah. So it's all retros, but Delia had some issues. Yeah. She did have some issues.
I thought it was weird how excited she got about reading someone else's diary. That she didn't know.
A poll. Yeah, but I did a poll saying, if you found a stranger's diary, would you read it? And over 95% was like, yes. I think there was only like 8% that said no. And I was like, you devils. But I totally would read it.
She was very excited about it, wasn't she?
Yeah.
But I'd be excited about finding someone's diary who I knew.
Yeah.
Reading that, but not like just some weird diary I've just found in my locker.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, she who should not be named, Rowling, obviously stole this idea from her secrets, didn't she? Bloody rip-off merchant.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about that. Good spot. Well, that's it. Who do we write to? Oh dear. Larissa's put got to clarify on your salon. Yeah, so she's got to clarify on the salon. She could be very intellectual, don't you know? Yes. Marcy Pamponi said Point Horror missing parents, of course. Yes, we've got to have missing parents. And Sharon's put
but they didn't fall into the plot at all. Like, she could have lived with her parents and they could have gone away for the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, it just never came up ever again.
We didn't really need to know that they died in a car crash. I felt no sympathy.
No.
I was just like, oh, okay. And Sharon's put, I loved how she never had to make an appointment at the salon. Yes.
Yeah, she just rolled up, didn't she?
Yeah. And especially like at the end, which we'll get to the end in a little bit, but especially at the end when she's like, Rosie's like tidying up, like about to close up, and she's like, oh, I couldn't possibly fit you in, you'll have to come back. And then she's like, for a cut, I think it was. And then all of a sudden she said, oh, but can you fit me in to dye my hair, like back to brown? And she's like, oh yeah, I can do that. Well, that takes longer.
I'll use my 30-second like hair dye on you. What was this hair dye?
No, it did make me chuckle. Like, oh dear.
She didn't like having that gloop on her hair though, did she?
No, she didn't.
My favourite bit was when she held up the thing of hair and this tells me how to mix the colours. Like, okay.
Yeah, there was just like, why did we need to know that? Obviously, it's because, spoiler alert, she was going to mix the colours up.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird when she was like, I want to go back to my original hair colour. And then the hairdresser held a picture up for her and said, I think it's this colour. And it'd be like, well, it was my hair colour, so you know, my hair colour that I came in with before
a model
all of this happened. Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
Cameron's put, how much haircut and salon money did she have though? Well, she was using the credit card. Well, I'm guessing it was only referenced once that she was using Aunt Grace's
she didn't have to pay for the final one, did she? Because it went wrong.
No,
because it
went wrong. Yeah,
she'd maxed it out on that past life regression.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God.
That was money well spent. Yeah.
That scene was so random when she goes for that regression.
But also,
she didn't tell us anything that happened.
No. And how she kind of like came out of the salon and then she was like, oh, over there, there's some kind of, you know, fortune telling place. That's handy. I'll go over there then. It was, I mean, I know it's a small town, but it was just all a bit like,
And never to be mentioned again afterwards. Like, she didn't go back. Like, obviously, it couldn't have been that good. She didn't go back there. And we didn't hear about the person, whoever it was, I can't remember, ever again. They disappeared mysteriously.
Yeah.
Raj has put Delia was a drip. Eddie May's put, why do all the parents have to be dead or go off somewhere? It's point horror.
Yeah.
We can't explain it. It just
we still
happens.
do it now. It's a YA stalwart, isn't it? You got to get rid of the parents.
It's the fortune teller lady was called Madame Miranda.
Madame Miranda.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh no, I thought it was like an anagram of murder, but it's not.
Oh.
I got really
all
excited then. Yeah.
I was like, George has cracked the code. George has cracked the code. Narissa agrees all the interesting stuff was like deleted scenes. I've got a bit behind on the comments, I do apologise. Our cozy Liverpool home has put Delia and her best friend seem to hate each other. Okay. So Jewel was the best friend. So what did you think of Jewel? Because I quite liked her. I thought she was quite sensible.
Well, she had something about her. I tell you what caused the beef right from the beginning between the two of them was Delia did she wake up in the car when they were going through the drive-through? And Jill was like, here, I got you this takeaway.
Fruit salad.
Fruit salad. Like, what the fuck?
Erupting in fruit.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for my $5 a day.
We've only got 20 minutes. We've not got enough time in 20 minutes to eat this massive fruit salad.
And then she was eating a lime. Part of the fruit salad was lime. I mean, at that point, I thought Jewel is the psycho here because she is clearly nuts. But I was just like, why would you be like, oh, my treat?
Yeah, it was very strange.
It was very strange.
And honestly, I must have read that first page of that chapter about 5 times, and I honestly thought they were talking about lipstick every single time.
Yeah. I did.
I didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Like nail it just reminded me of the Body Shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the days as well with all the like black cherry and white musk and stuff like that. Oh dear. But Georgina, sorry, in the comments has put Jewel was vile to her, but at least she had a personality.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like, I quite liked Jewel just because she seemed quite. She seemed to like talk Delia, like try and intervene a couple of times, and try and talk some sense. Yeah, and try and talk some sense into her. Although not about her dodgy boyfriend. She let her kind of get on with that, which was a bit. But I kind of liked Jules. The comment that she made about the population. So obviously Delia opens
reincarnation.
Up to her. Yeah, and she's like, I think she says something like, through centuries, the population of the world has been increasing. If everyone keeps living over and over again, how come the number of people doesn't stay the same? If everyone lived before, then where do all the new people come from? And I was like,
that is deep.
Man.
Yeah.
My mind was blown. Yeah. I was like, whoa.
I was warming up to her then because I thought, Delia is sort of trying to work out what's going on. And then Jewel is like going into this monologue. And then she's like, people who believe in reincarnation are pathetic. And you're like, oh, okay.
But
that's
then you think Delia had just been letting her down and not turning up to stuff. And,
as far as we know.
Wow.
As far as she could remember. And I felt a bit sorry for it. So when she kind of had a go at the end, I thought, that's probably justified.
Yeah.
Maybe not the right way about it, but you would be miffed off.
Yeah. I kind of, I liked Jewel. I thought she was okay. But yeah.
What was her name? Something Diamond. I've got it here. Because it goes immediately, doesn't it? Like, why not just call her Jewel? Why not
Judy Diamond, her name was.
Oh, yeah.
And
Judy Diamond.
And they called her Jewel. I mean, that is such a point horror name as well, Judy Diamond.
Yeah.
Scott's put, I thought that, I'm really behind on the comments. So Scott has put, I thought that it was supposed to read like a diary as well. So obviously the book was meant to read like a diary. And Cameron's put, yeah, same, Shelley. I thought this was her diary written like a story, like the teacher advised at the start. Yeah.
See, I did not get that.
No, me neither.
If she'd have put maybe like Monday, 6:30.
Well,
then
you know what? This was the other thing. There was no diary entries in the diary.
No, it was blank, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, but I mean, I was expecting to just read a little snippet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of a diary at some point, and there wasn't one. Not one.
Then there was something at some point. Oh no, maybe there wasn't.
No,
now I think about it, like I've obviously
I remember
imagined.
because I only read it today, so I remember.
Oh,
what you mean? There was nothing that was like literally Laura's words from the diary?
Yeah, nothing.
Oh,
I thought there was like in italics a bit. No,
at the end,
right? At the very last bit.
Yeah,
the very last
towards
bit,
the end. Yeah,
that is Dear Diary, and it's italics, but it's.
Oh, wasn't there a bit about? No, there was a bit near the beginning. Sorry, I dogged so many because I had all these wonderful quotes.
Yeah,
there was a bit about her. There I was, bored to tears from raking leaves while Grandma and Goody Two Shoes sat inside watching TV.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That cousin of mine.
I think she says it as like. I think she tells it you like. I don't think it's a diary entry.
No, it says the part that she wrote when her grandmother made her rake the yard, and then she goes.
Yeah.
But
so
that's like the worst bit that she could have possibly shared with us from a diary of someone who's like living a wild life.
Yeah.
Of when she was raking the leaves.
We did a wild like Friday night.
Yeah, we want to know about her and Mr. whatever his name is.
Oh
yeah. She was so wild, but there's no wild stories in there.
No, there's no wildness.
She would start reading it and then just like lose hours of her life.
Yeah.
So she never actually remembered anything that had been written in the diary apart from like the odd little bit.
Yeah.
That's like me when I go on Instagram, I lose hours of my life and I'm like, whoa, where did that time go? Raj just put, also every time she got her hair cut or coloured, why wasn't a mirror facing her in the salon? Lol, how was Rose cutting hair without a mirror? What kind of salon was it? That's true. Yeah, and Eddie Ray's put, I like the psychological drama of wondering if she's crazy or if someone was setting her up. Yeah, definitely. I'll just try and get to the bottom of these comments. Larissa's put, she ripped off everything. I wonder whether that means Sinclair Smith.
Oh, no, probably Rowling.
No, I think it means, yeah.
Because I saw Narissa put earlier that there was there's much more better Sinclair Smiths out there than this one. I'm hoping The Waitress is still good. I'm too scared to reread it because that was my first one, but that's a Sinclair Smith, but we'll see. Well, she was too excited, and then to take on that whole personality is weird. Marzipan Pony, I think it needed to parallel Laura's parents being dead. Oh, so Delia's parents were dead to parallel Laura's parents being dead.
I did wonder at one point whether she was like, is this the same person? Is she like the cousin somehow? Because there was obviously like she was with her grandma. Yeah. And then I thought, no, that doesn't work. But bit of
interesting.
Bit of an amnesia thing type situation.
Like one of my favourite bits was the bit where she goes she finds the house in the yard sale, and the creepy guy comes out and is like,
creepy man.
The girl here died many years ago, and I'm like, that could have been such a good scene, and then again, just never mentioned ever again, even though it's like those houses were knocked down, and that's where the mini mall is now. Like, what a good storyline that would have been.
Yeah.
And this is in like a place, a part of the town that she'd never been before. It was interesting. I think, was his voice like a brush being dragged down a blackboard or something like that?
Something
and I was a bit like a bit like teeth on edge kind of thing. Yeah, that was such a good scene. Sinclair Smith could have done so much just on that kind of storyline, because he was kind of referencing, wasn't he, that She was the one who brought the stuff from the yard sale, and things like
You
that.
look like
so,
the dead girl.
Yeah,
Well, actually,
definitely.
so how did she look like the person who bought something from the yard sale? Because the dead girl didn't buy. See, it just wasn't explained. Like, did he mean that Laura bought stuff from the yard sale? Don't know. But I really liked that scene.
Plot
I thought
hole.
it was done quite well.
Yeah.
And then it was just never
really
never
used.
Again.
Never again. Raja's put, Aunt Gracie always wore white gloves. Pleasantville sounded like the town in the Truman Show. Yeah, that's so true. Nerissa's put all the film Pleasantville. Our Cozy Liverpool Home. My favourite lines in the whole book. Rose didn't just give Miss Tilly a permanent wave, she gave her a permanent wave.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I love that, permanent wave, goodbye. I wrote down that was probably a tagline for a book that they never used called The Hairdresser.
Oh,
yeah, I love that.
That was such a good line.
Do you know, and another line which I think summed up the whole book was, the whole situation struck me as so ridiculous I couldn't help laughing.
I love that. And I also loved the scene with Miss Tilly, which I thought was kind of scary, with the acid.
I liked that scene.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of R.L. Stein style fake outs, wasn't there? You know, when something really drastic happened, then it's like, but not really.
Yeah. Page turn.
I loved that scene because it was it kind of made things a bit more interesting. But then afterwards I was like, what was that scene? Was it supposed to imply that Laura had poured acid on someone or someone? I was just like, it was a great scene, but I didn't know. I just was a bit confused by it afterwards.
Yeah, I think I wrote down like something to do with the line that was said, but it's something to do with that she could see, and then she described it in quite great detail as well.
Like a hole,
and I was like, oh, that's quite
face.
gory, for a point horror. And then I was just disappointed that it wasn't real.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, it was just her imagination. But what a thing to imagine, like, ooh.
But she was imagining what Laura would imagine. That was like
that's it. And she probably just thought it was normal because she'd never been to a haircutting salon before.
They can use really strong chemicals.
Hallucinated. I was kind of imagining Miss Tilly looking like, you know, like in Raiders of the Lost Ark when they open the ark. That's what I was imagining in my head. Right, let me try and get to the bottom here. Some comments about the fortune teller. So the way the fortune teller says, I can tell you are searching for something. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Freeze. Oh, Nerissa's put freeze tag is the only one I can think where the mum is present. I know in Hide and Seek by Jane McFadden, the dad is present, but he's vile. Horrible man.
I think in the babysitter books, the parents are there, aren't they? But like mainly off screen.
Yeah. But we're doing a freeze tag in December, so that'll be interesting to read. And Nerissa's put, it had a lot of Hello Mary Lou Prom Night 2 vibes, and I've never seen that, and Nerissa keeps telling me to watch that, so definitely I have to watch that. I think she was horrid at the art show, Georgina said, so I think that's about Jewel. So obviously
she was a bit jealous, wasn't she? Because she won the competition, but again we didn't see that happening. She was just like, it came first.
I won. But that's why I think it read like a diary, because she didn't go into detail. I think that's how Sinclair Smith got away with it. Maybe. Yeah. But and then obviously you hear about this corpse painting that she's painted when she doesn't remember painting it, or she goes into some trance painting it.
I quite like that.
She wins this first prize, and then it gets slashed
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she goes to the salon and there's a piece of the painting there, and then in the next chapter it's like,
It's
oh no,
not.
It's a
It's
rag.
a blue rag.
But knowing what we know, do you think it
It could
was?
have
Was
been.
it?
Yeah, it could have been.
Do you think it was? So I'll just try and get to the bottom. I thought there was when she says about the leaves of her aunt. That was when we was talking about the diary entries. Um, Oh, hi, Kev. Amy's putting now to bed. To become a mum's put. It was a bit daft, but I quite enjoyed it. I like the way it ended too. I don't remember other Sinclair Smith books from the first time round. What ones do you recommend if there's any better ones? Oh, I have to admit, this is why I'm scared of rereading The Waitress, which I haven't read since I was a teen, because Sinclair Smith's books are normally a bit like out there, and like Double Date is just like crazy. But as I'm older, I'm starting to like that. It's like crazy and like that. I don't know what's going on. So I'll have to have a look which ones I can remember reading. I'll get back to you on that one. I'll find out.
I never read any Sinclair Smith because of my weird rule of three rule with authors who wrote Point Horror. I told you this last time, didn't I?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
so I
remember this.
only read Caroline B. Cooney, R.L. Stein, and Richie Tankersley Cusick. I didn't read the others. I know I was weird even back then.
Oh, at least there were like three quite good ones.
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, you were strong on so much.
I know, but I'm catching up now. So
Yeah, we've introduced Georgia
Yeah.
to Carol Ellis with Cynthia, and now Sinclair Smith. Luna's put Creepy House had so much potential, like we were saying. Oh yeah, The Boy Next Door is a Sinclair. It is Sinclair Smith, that ending.
Is it?
Yeah, I won't spoil it, but I do think that is probably one of the best Point Horror endings, because it's just so stupid. The Boy Next Door, but yeah, if you've read it,
cover.
Yeah, you'll know what I mean. Yeah, the cover's probably the best bit in it. I know
as many of them are, I think. Yeah.
And To Become a Mum's Put, it had the sense of a lot of Point Horrors, interesting plot points, not fully explored, making it feel like they had to cut things down to meet a 200-page max quota. Yeah, that's the problem. They probably did cut a lot out of these Point Horrors. Because how do you guys find it, like with editing? Do you have to edit a lot out? I know you sometimes have to edit your gore down, Cynthia, don't you?
Yeah. No, I have to add. So I will write a short first draft, and then I've got to add to it to fill it in, and like I'll read a description, I'll be like, nobody apart from me will have any idea what this means. So I need to bulk it out a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I don't need to cut stuff.
That's interesting. Yeah.
But this to me was just a bit lazy. Like, it was like, oh, and we'll put this in. And then, we've not got enough time to go into it. So we're just never going to mention it again. Whereas they could have gone back and just cut out a couple of bits. The Jack in the Box, like, what was that about?
Oh, the Jack in the Box with the white bow.
Yeah, like, what was that about? And it was never mentioned again. And, but they could have gone back and filled in other bits.
Yeah.
And, so.
And also as well, it was like Delia's obsession with that TV show, the Beyond Reason. And who was the host? Was it someone? Crystal. Crystal.
And when she went to see Madame Randa, she was like, ha, hacks. They're all hacks. Real deal.
Yeah. I just love it because it just, like, for me, it felt like Sinclair Smith just put bits through everything in. And this is what Dream Date felt like a little bit to me. She just put all of her favourite things in and tropes and stuff and just whacked them all in one book and, like, just teased us a little bit with them.
Like it's not been edited. It's like nobody's looked at it and gone, right, you don't need that bit. And, let's put a bit more in here. It's just first draft.
There could have been like this really incredible reveal scene where she's like, "What's that at the back of my cupboard?" And then like she realizes that all of this, she's been doing all of this stuff, and she didn't know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, and there's some new clothes, and there's a
Yeah,
clothes on, and
and it
don't
was
remember how they got there, but
there was a bit like three-quarters of the way through where it was like I was at the mall
yeah.
with my friends, and you're like, "What friends? You haven't mentioned any of these other
Yeah.
friends."
That was another thing. The cast of characters was so small. I was
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
you know, how. I mean, I read this last year, and then I quickly reread it today to kind of be because I lost it. So I checked
Yeah.
Shelley last night, and I was like, I've lost it. I can't find it anywhere. So I was trying to read a scanned version online, which was a nightmare. And then I found
Yeah.
it this morning, and I've
Yeah.
completely derailed myself now. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I think overall for me, like I did enjoy it, and I've just seen Cameron's put as silly as it was though, I found this one quick and easy to read. And
yeah,
inside the covers put, yeah, I flew through it, and I think that's what it was for me as well. I did once I started reading it, I was intrigued enough to like keep turning the pages. Yeah, and to become a mum's put read it in 2 sittings.
yeah.
Oh, Joanna's put Halloween night. The parents are there. Oh,
are they?
yeah, are they? Is that the one with the peacock fancy dress? That's all I remember about
Oh,
it.
they are. Is it?
I think.
Yes. The one where the cousin moves into the house. The parents are there quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, Scott's put about the box. So she kept saying, didn't she, the box exploding? Oh, it might explode. And then when
Yeah.
she opened it, it was just a random Jack in the box that was like a clown.
But doesn't she say, like, at the end of the chapter, she says, the explosion knocked me off my feet. And then the start of the next chapter is, it wasn't really an explosion.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a bit of comedy, isn't it? So she's
It
thrown a
was
bit of
comedy.
a bit of comedy
Yeah.
thrown in there as well.
yeah. She
Intentional
was very
comedy.
dramatic, Delia. She was very dramatic. Eddie May's put, were all the trips to and descriptions of the hair salon a hint foretelling of the ending because of who was doing it all? Yeah,
Maybe.
possible. Melina's put, I thought the corpse painting was creepy. Joanna, RTC is the best. Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Richard Tankers-Stakuzic's my favourite.
Yeah.
Larissa's put, only read a couple back then because R.L. Stein pissed me off so much with his mock fake out in The Witness. We will have to do The Witness. Yeah, it's interesting. To become a mum's put, the more I think, the more it does feel like a diary in the way it's written. The different preoccupations Delia had in her head, not always filling in the details. Yeah, see, that's kind of how I read it. Larissa's put, I actually had quite a lot of fun with Dream Date. The more bonkers, the better. Yeah, I'm starting to get that way. If it's bonkers, I enjoy it.
Oh,
Nikki
look,
kept getting
me and
cut off.
Cynthia are mirroring each other.
Oh, you
Sorry.
guys.
Sorry.
Too much time together.
Yeah.
No, I think it's like some dodgy diary scenario.
Yeah.
One of you's going to end up being like
merging.
possessed.
Yeah.
Oh, Nikki getting cut off. I'm at an 80s night. Oh, yeah, you're at an 80s night, but yet you're here for Point Horror Book Club. Oh, wow.
That's dedication.
That is. Thank you, Nikki. Are you dressed up? That's what we want to know. What are you dressed as? They're pretty horrid though. I'm hopefully. Oh yeah, I've got to the end of my comments. When I get behind, that's it. I'm like, oh, I've got to catch up. And to become a mum's put, just like Delia reading the diary, we couldn't help but keep reading the book. I think she means Dream Date is my fave. Yeah. Oh, George has been making spells with those photos in her diary. Yes, Marissa. That's what I think as well. So as we've mentioned the ending then, so spoilers alert for who the villain is. I can never say spoiler alert now. I always say spoilers alert. I don't know why. It's like so every time. But yeah, so the ending then, so the reveal obviously turns out to be dum, 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 Rose, who is from the hair cutting salon.
From the hair cutting salon.
Was the reveal a surprise to you? Was it a surprise? Because I think I didn't suspect at all.
Yeah, I think I was reading it and I was like, I read this last year. How do I not remember who it was? And I really didn't. And then as soon as she dyed her hair wrong, I was like,
yes,
okay.
That's when I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Georgia? Oh, sorry, Cynthia.
No, I'm just like mulling out loud.
Well,
did you think it was going to be her?
Yeah, I think I knew it was going to be her.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't Brock. I knew he was just a dick. I knew it wasn't him.
I can't even bring myself to talk about him, but we will.
And then when she started ramming her off the road, and then, you know, she looks up and it's Rose. And she's like, oh, thank goodness. And I was like, yeah, thanks for ramming us off the road and saving us. What the fuck? And I was just a bit like, what is this girl on? It's so...
Rose in a hood.
Yeah, that's not how you rescue someone, Delia.
And how did she recognise that Delia was her cousin reincarnated when Delia looked so different at the beginning?
Yeah. That was a stretch. That was a real stretch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But that's why it would have been good if they were related, if there was some kind of connection, if they were related or something. You would have accepted it a bit more, wouldn't you?
Because they kind of
if the birthday thing came up earlier.
Yeah,
I liked the birthday thing.
So they obviously have the same birthdays, and then Rose kind of mentions, doesn't she, that she has been stalking Delia way before she planted the diary in the locker. So like, how did she have this?
How did she recognise it in her?
Or was she having like premonitions back to her childhood or teenage years? Because obviously she turned out to be the cousin of Laura, the goody two shoes cousin. So maybe she was having like flashbacks or something.
Maybe she'd gone over to see Madame Rona, whatever her name is.
And
she was like, there is another in Pleasantville or whatever it is. And but it should have been like, she shared a locker, and there should have been more stuff.
Maybe the locker should have been Laura's or something like that. Just more connection kind of thing.
Possession would have been better. Sorry, I'm just reading one of the comments. Possession would have been a bit more interesting.
Yeah, so Luna's put, I was surprised it was reincarnation and not possession. That would have been more easy to explain, I guess.
And the blackouts would have made a bit more sense as well, wouldn't they?
Definitely.
But the acid being poured on Thingy's head still wouldn't make any sense.
No.
It was a good scene though. I wonder if
it was brilliant.
Used it in another.
That's the sort of thing I do, where I think of this like really cool scene and then base the entire book around one scene and kind of like try and shoehorn it in.
Oh, I love that. But I personally, for me, I was hoodwinked. Like, that ending did surprise me. Like you, as soon as she dyed the hair the wrong colour, I was like, But I was hoodwinked, and then I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, why did I not get this one? Because I normally do get them. And I don't remember reading this one before. I thought I had, but I don't remember anything about it. And I was thinking, why was I hoodwinked? And I think it's because, and I have to admit, when I wrote my notes, I hardly wrote any notes on, because when I'm doing this, I write notes on each character so I can kind of get them in my head and remember to talk about them. And when I came to like type them up, I'd hardly written anything on Rose. And I was like, well, isn't that interesting? So I obviously didn't think it was going to be her. And I thought it was going to turn out to be the friend who we didn't hear much of. What was the
one
name?
who disappeared?
Yeah, Bambi.
Bambi.
Yes. Yeah, I thought it was going to end up being that person. And then, so I was really like surprised with the ending.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there thinking, why was I surprised? And I think it's because, like, I apologise if there's anyone who is hairdressers, but you do kind of like trust your
Yeah.
hairdresser with like little snippets of your life. Like you just chat to this
Yeah.
person and you don't think anything of saying these certain things. And it's like Delia says, you know, they are like your best friend kind of thing, and you outpour all this stuff. And then what I also loved as well was afterwards, I was mulling this over in my head, and then I just turned the page at the beginning, or my book opened up, and I saw the dedication at the front of the book.
Yeah.
So it says, so at the front here, the dedication, it says, thanks to hairstylists Michelle Ramin and Sandy Kalemine for technical advice. And I was like, oh, was it like how to murder people? Was that why you was having your hair cut?
I was like, what did they tell her? Like, did they,
Yeah.
did they tell her?
Technical advice on
what?
Yeah, it
Like,
takes
was that
30
the
minutes
technical
to
advice?
dye hair. Yeah, 30 seconds to dye someone's hair. Make
So-
sure you
So
put
how she
acid
cuts it,
on.
or
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was, I don't know,
Do you know-
it made me chuckle when I saw
You've
that.
written a lot of books when you run out of people to dedicate them to the point where you just randomly thank to.
Yeah, yeah. Who sound like they haven't done a very good job, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Oh,
Do you know what
dear.
I liked about the ending was, I mean, it was just that sort of classic point horror, you know, it's dark and there's water and blah, 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 and various people. And then the explanation afterwards. And they were like, your teacher went to get his hair cut.
Yeah.
And the hairdresser was going wild and saying she had to leave early because she had to go and kill her cousin who's been reincarnated. And I just imagine this teacher. He used to go out with. I imagine this teacher, like possibly having his haircut at the time while this woman's going, I've got to go and kill my cousin. Sorry, got to close the shop early. And he's just like, what the fuck? And then I was like, how much time was there between him getting his haircut and then him alerting the police? What time was his haircut? When was this like a Twilight haircut? And like, did he leave? He wouldn't have had a mobile because, you know, 90s. So he perhaps like went to find a payphone or went home, called the police. But in like they could have intercepted Rose getting in the car and chasing after things, and then ramming her off the road, and then having a struggle into the woods by the lake, and then the helicopters appear, and they were like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, your teacher alerted us." I was just
and
like,
also the fight scene went on for like
ages.
And
how many times can you be dunked in the water?
Yeah,
and then but then she even kind of says, and then we did it again. Like, we fighting again.
Yeah, it was.
And the thing is, the police didn't just send like a patrol car out. Like, yeah, we'll check it out. It was a full-blown helicopter showdown.
Yeah,
and
And what we know from like 90s films and stuff is that, I mean, I guess he wasn't adult reporting that this woman had gone crazy, but normally, because I always just, you know, think of the Goonies where Chunk is called up and they're like, oh yeah, so what, there's gremlins again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you can imagine like the police officer being right, so your hairdresser says she's going to go kill her cousin.
You went for a haircut.
Where was this? Oh, at the haircutting salon, yeah.
At the haircutting salon.
Which one was that? Oh, the one opposite the fortune teller. Yeah, I know the place.
The one that beautifies you.
Yeah, that's where I get my acid done.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then they're
God.
like, yeah, don't worry, we will send the chopper, the squad cars, we're just going to send it all.
Yeah.
You know, just
to
to make sure.
The exact location where they were. The exact location. Oh, it was hilarious.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. So Georgina's put, the funniest thing was how old they make out Rose and Charlie to be. So they were about 36. Laughy face.
Yeah, really old.
Yeah, that's way past it, that is.
I know there's a bit where she describes him at the beginning, and she's like, even though I know he's way too old for me and he's going grey at the temples, and I felt so called out.
That's why we know so much about hair dyeing and how long it takes.
That's it. Yeah, that's why we know, Rose. We
Yeah.
know. Karen's put he's not as bad as Frank, so I presume she means Brock. Mm,
Oh.
yeah, kind of. Blech.
Yeah.
Do you know
but
who
yeah,
I?
not
Do
as
you
bad
know
as
who I
Frank.
wanted to come in and save the day at the
Who?
end? Natasha, the librarian.
Yes, the most random character.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, who was just put there to show the picture.
I think she was a real person that Sinclair Smith knew, a real librarian called Natasha, because it's weird that he gave her a name, and that she had such a. It was sort of so far through the book, and then there was like a librarian called Natasha. This is very interesting. So
Yeah, I had to reread that scene because I got a bit confused because I thought she was saying that she was the cousin, and I got ever so confused. I had to go back and reread it.
I reckon Natasha and the teacher were practicing
Mr.
the
Parrish.
old position of the fortnight. That's why he was getting it. That's why he was getting his hair done.
He's getting his hair done, yeah. Ready for his hot date.
Yeah,
nice.
I liked him.
Oh,
Yeah,
bless him.
Yeah.
Yeah, bless him. Luna's put, I wasn't sure if the hair going wrong was deliberate by Rose or Laura coming through. Yeah, so it could have been like, because we didn't, it was blurring the lines, wasn't it, of what was real and what was not and stuff. So Joanna's asked which book Frank is from. So Frank is from April Fools, which me and Cynthia chatted about last year, wasn't it? And yeah, once read, never forgotten. Frank, he's a tough one to beat, but Brock was kind of up there. Yeah, Leona's put, I was surprised it was reincarnation, not possession. We've said that. I really thought it was possession. Inside the covers put, looking good, Georgia, Sarah Jane says.
Oh, I love Sarah Jane. We used to go to the gym together.
Oh,
she's a writer as well, Sarah Jane.
Oh. Yeah. Inside the covers, but I felt Laura had possessed Delia to get back at a murderer. See, it would have been. Now I think about it, that would have been
possession
so much
would have
better.
been
Yeah, definitely.
Possession is always better than reincarnation.
Yeah, because inside the covers, but I thought it explained the blackouts as well. That was when Laura took over her body, but Delia didn't really know what she was doing. Yeah, I wonder if she just changed her mind like halfway through or something.
Maybe, and then it never got picked up on, and she was like, "Oh, good enough."
Someone having blackouts in the story is so lame. Who would do that in their book?
Joanna's put the original owner of her copy of the diary had written, "Thank God she was murdered in the inlay." Absolute legend. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, we lost Cynthia.
Cynthia, where did you go?
Oh, she's been possessed. Oh, Joanna, that was so funny.
It's finally worked. My spell.
Oh, dear. Oh, hello, I'm coming in late. Oh, thank you. Right, let's add Cynthia back in. We've nearly...
That was really weird how she just disappeared.
Yeah, she's been possessed.
Yeah.
That's what it is. She's been possessed. I've sent her an invite. Larissa's put reincarnation feels much more Pike than Point Horror. Yeah. No, definitely. And then hopefully Cynthia will come back in a minute.
Can I tell you a couple of other lines that I wrote down, which I thought were wonderful. This one I'm thinking of getting on a t-shirt. So this is, I was feeling sick, but looking dead.
Oh, that's like me every morning.
What does that even mean? Feeling sick but looking dead.
Feeling sick but looking dead. Yeah, that definitely needs to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah, and then at the end when I don't know, she turned into kind of a sort of middle-aged, woman. She's like, remember the doors were locked. Unlocked they'll remain, I said to myself. And then it, like, when she looks up and she sees Rose, and she said, I wondered if the black-cloaked figure would break into the car and kill us both, perhaps with an axe.
She was very dramatic, Julia. Very dramatic.
There was this whole bit where it almost read like a Jane Austen like passage. It was so weird. When she was talking, how could I explain to another human being what it is to find oneself the star of one's own private horror story? Well, the knowledge that the impossible has become possible goes hand in hand with the understanding that death is near. I was like, what am I reading? Where did that come from?
Oh dear. See, this is what I mean. You got everything in this Point Horror.
Yeah, it was like she was sitting next to her bookshelf and she was like, right. Everybody yeah, I'm surprised there's no like Dr. Seuss in there as well.
I can't think what one of my favourite lines.
Feeling sick but looking dead could be a kind of twisted Dr. Seuss.
That's going to be that's it. That's my new status update. Yeah. Like, feeling sick but looking dead. Hot. Oh dear. But there was a line. I don't know whether I've written it down. Oh, I bet I didn't. There was just
Cynthia
a line.
Gone? I haven't really magicked her away.
I think she's like being reincarnated.
Maybe.
Oh, lots of people saying, Karen's put, please read all Point Horror books in the Austen voice, Georgia. That was amazing, that voice. I love it. Oh, brilliant. Oh, yeah, Eddie May's put, you are so funny, Georgia.
Thank you.
So funny.
Oh, dear.
Hopefully Cynthia will be back with us. Oh, hang on, here she is, I think. Oh, I can't believe Cynthia's missed out on the the Austen voice. And as if by magic, Cynthia will be.
She's back in the room.
Is she here?
Yeah.
Yay!
Oh, what happened?
We thought we'd possessed you.
Yeah. I just live in the place that the internet forgot. Our internet is terrible. Sorry.
Oh, and while you were gone, I think Georgia did like a brilliant impression of like reading Point Horror in an Austen-esque voice.
A lot happened while you were away.
Yeah. I filled the space.
So just to finish off then, so obviously once we'd had all this big reveal at the end, which I was hoodwinked over because I'm obviously losing my touch, there was like another twist at the end because Aunt Grace has not been there the whole time.
I was hoping,
Go on.
No, there was a bit where I thought, oh, wouldn't it be great if at the end, like, Aunt Grace is just like mummified in the garage and she's she's done something really awful to her all the way through. Yeah.
Or she's in a hole. She's in a hole raked over with leaves. I thought that last diary entry was very reminiscent of Cynthia Murphy, actually.
Well, now my ideas from.
But I having read the whole book, going, I did. I like that last diary entry. Having read the whole book, going, what, I want to feel something, Delia, for God's sake. And then I read the diary at the end and I was like, what did she do? What did she do to Aunt Gracie?
Do we think that she did this before this, like, let's call it a possession, because that's what we're all thinking. So do we think that she did something to Aunt Grace before all of this? Or during, because we don't see Aunt Grace at all. She's not there.
No.
What do you think?
Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, Aunt Grace left her a tuna fish salad at one point.
Oh yeah.
She was meant to be allergic to tuna.
Yeah.
As well.
I thought you were allergic to tuna. She goes, oh yes. I am. I've eaten
as
it
I'm
2 days
scoffing
in a row.
the tuna.
I'm allergic to tuna. Like,
Yeah, that's
I've
really
never heard of
weird.
anyone with a tuna allergy. But yeah, so she'd made this salad,
Mm.
and then she said she was staying at a friend's, but she didn't leave any contact details, did she?
No.
No contact details. So my kind of theory is, I think it happened before all this diary business happened, and I don't know whether it was meant to be. I'm reading way too much into this, but that all this strange goings on in Delia's head was not only this dead girl trying to say find who killed me, but also like maybe a bit of her guilt, and all the blackouts were maybe trying to black out what she's done to her aunt, who obviously she felt like deserved it. I don't know.
I think you're
just
being
such
very
a good
generous
end
to the writing there.
but I just thought it was a good ending, and I liked it, and I
Mm.
liked the fact that Aunt Grace was dead. Yeah.
And she's got a new boyfriend, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
I would love if it was the teacher.
Yeah,
I mean,
Mr.
so
Parrish?
wrong, but
Mr. Parrish.
how good would that be?
Well, it wouldn't be very
Yeah.
good for Natasha, the librarian, because I thought they were.
Get
But
it on.
I loved that the clear message was that true Point Horror Style is that your appearance is more important than anything, basically.
Yeah.
And as long as your style is good, and you've got good hair and a good manicure, don't worry about anything else.
Don't worry about anything. Yes, don't worry. Just get down to the haircutting salon.
Yeah.
And then all is good. The other thing was, I was going to ask that what happened to the cat? Because there was a cat who sat on the answer machine.
Yeah.
We forgot to talk about that. Sat on the answer machine. She thought someone was in the house, but oh no, it was just the cat who sat on the answer machine playing the voice. But anyway, but yeah, the cat doesn't get a mention. Did she kill the cat as well?
I was a bit
probably
worried.
Yeah.
I was
Poor
a bit
little
worried
cat.
that when she got the thing saying there's a present outside for you in the back, I was worried it was going to be something horrible with the cat.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I mean,
Oh yeah, that
not
would have
animal
been quite.
cruelty, but that would have been so much better than a Jack in the box.
I was just going to say the same. Like, yeah, it would have been good, or like Aunt Grace's head.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Come
like
on,
Seven
let's go
style.
for it.
Yeah. Oh, what are we like? We just want the gore. You see, that's what we want. We're
I think the cat is probably stuck down one of those holes with Aunt Gracie in the garden. Do you know, I fell down a hole once and on the beach that somebody had dug a massive hole and then covered it over with a towel and put sand on the towel. And I was marching down the beach really
like
fast.
Like a serial killer movie.
I know. Because we were going to a restaurant and I was really hungry, so I was charging ahead in front of everybody. And then I just fell down this massive hole. And it was like I was up to here. And then
my God.
no one could help me out because they were all laughing so much.
I'm sorry, Georgia, I would have laughed.
I know, yeah.
Oh God, that's like funny, but also like, why would someone do that?
Well,
like...
if she'd written the diary properly, then we'd know why people dig holes and cover them up with things.
Oh dear.
Because did Laura's grandma or whoever it was, did anything ever happen to her?
Because was it implied
that
that?
It does?
Oh, she went over on her ankle, did she?
She went over down the holes because Rose kind of says.
Did Rose say that?
Yeah, she kind of says like, "Oh well, you did this, Laura, too. You did the holes, don't you?" Something like, "I know what you did," or something. Yes, all very dramatic. Inside the cover said, I love the ending, so obviously the twist at the end, and that she's definitely in the garden. I kind of like that. Yeah. Overdue notice to put the ending. Yes. Eddie May's put, Cynthia, may I ask, what is the black round object on your wall? Oh, like behind you.
It's a calendar. Like a manual calendar, so you have to move it. So the last time I changed the calendar was on the 8th of August.
Oh, dear diary.
So it's really
on
good.
the 8th of August.
It's a really useful instrument.
Overdue notices, but did she really leave it, or did Delia make it? Ooh, what was that about? The diary, maybe? I'm not sure. I can't remember what we was talking about now.
Oh, tell you what one of my favourite bits was before we end. When Jewel comes round and goes up to read the diary, and she's gone for half an hour.
Half an hour.
Yeah.
She's gone for half an hour, and then she goes, "But look, it's all blank. There's nothing in here anyway. Like, what have I been doing for half an hour?" And then she's like, "Oh my God, have I been going crazy? It's all blank." And it goes on so much about how this diary is unique and hand-tooled, and it's got like these things in. And then about 10 minutes later, she goes, "Oh, it's just another diary."
It's just one of my old diaries.
Yeah, just a common notebook.
Yeah, that was.
And you're like, what? Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a good scene. Because what was she doing for half an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to know, do
No.
we?
Well,
we don't know. That's the whole thing, Sinclair Smith. You leave it out. Yeah, so Karen's put, yeah, but that was like the movie Split. Oh, I've not seen that, where the personalities all have different allergies and oddities.
Oh,
yeah. I did wonder that if it was meant to be Laura's not allergic to tuna fish, but I just thought you could have made it a nut allergy or something, couldn't you? Like a tuna fish allergy. Oh my God.
Oh dear. And Narissa's put, Cynthia missed this, but even if you're feeling sick, you can look dead fabulous.
Yeah, this was one of the lines, Cynthia, that I wrote down, which I said to Shelley, we're going to get it on a T-shirt. When Delia says, "I was feeling sick, but looking dead." What does that mean?
Oh, God, I don't know. I don't know.
We're just going to get T-shirts made with that on now.
Yeah, feeling sick but looking dead.
Yeah. Eddie May's put, "Shelley, I love how excited you get over Aunt Grace's possible death. But the best is where's the gore." Yeah, honestly, I got very excited.
It could have been brilliant. Yeah.
What would you, Cynthia? What would you have done to fix this book?
Good question.
I think I would have had diary entries, you know, with it being called the diary, and had like a Laura entry, and then have her doing things that mirrored it, or just the bits. I mean, I know she's having a bit of a blackout, but I want to see those bits happen. So maybe write in a third person rather than a first person.
Yeah.
Because it's all I, but there's so much going on. Like, the reader needs to know, even if the character doesn't.
Yeah. Ah. What would you have done, Georgia?
I don't know. That's why I was asking Cynthia.
I'm just going to rewrite it.
I would have liked to have had the connection between Delia and Rose a bit clearer, and maybe having them have a meeting at the beginning, and there's like some exchange where there's like a thing that she gets that belongs to Laura, so you understand why, and it should like suddenly come on. She starts having these blackouts and all of that, and for it to be a possession then rather than a reincarnation.
Yeah. Like,
So
what's
much...
the accident? That's a bit of a possession one. It reminded me that's what it could have been, because I think that was really good. So it could have been that good, but it just wasn't. It needed to be longer.
The Accident's a good one. We're doing that one next year.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Can I, tuna salad, right? What?
Oh no.
No, I'm just like, tuna salad. Is that tuna with salad?
I don't know. In my head, it was like tuna mayo with a bit of.
I thought it was like tuna mayo.
Because like that's what they call egg salad, don't they?
Why
do they call it? Why do they call it salad?
I don't know. It's
Do we need to Google this?
Hang
on.
Are there any Americans watching?
We need Dustin. Tuna salad. Who knew we was going to do this tonight?
But I mean, either way, whether it's tuna with mayonnaise or tuna with salad, it's not something you'd look in the
Oh,
fridge and be like,
yeah, it's like it comes up
It made
best
me want a
tuna
tuna
salad.
sandwich.
Yeah,
did
apparently
it?
it's like tuna, mayonnaise, celery.
Oh no. Ew.
Mm. Mm.
That
Yeah.
It's just
that
yeah.
explains the salad connection.
Yeah. It's just a bit of celery in it.
Yeah,
Oh
Oh,
yeah, marzipan ponies,
right.
but yeah, tuna, mayo, and celery. Yeah.
oh
Ah, with
no.
Okay.
Celery is just awful.
mayo. And Amar just put she ate it twice in a row as
Yeah,
well.
she had such a
Yeah,
good
she
time the
did.
first night, and it was the second night when Brock Kevin said, "I thought you were allergic to tuna fish," and she was like, "Oh yes,
Do you know what though? I thought that showed a little bit of sort of gentleness on his part, that he was aware of her allergies, even though he was a bit of a
we had
wanker.
her 6 months, Georgia, and she forgot. She forgot that they had
How
been together
could
6 months.
she?
She forgot,
How
but she
could
mentioned
she?
it 17 times in one chapter.
Oh dear. So okay, so we're saying Brock got a bit of a redemption there for remembering
Did Brock
she was
survive?
allergic. Hmm. That's a point. You don't hear. Oh, what a
I
shame.
don't
Let's
think
hope
it's
he's
there.
like.
Maybe he's
But
buried with
no,
Auntie Gracie outside.
I'm presuming he died in the car crash and didn't go to college.
Yeah, it's not mentioned at all.
Yes.
But it says,
Oh.
oh no, here we go. I looked at Brock sitting next to me and reached out and took his hand. Thank goodness you found us. But who brought you the tip? So he is alive.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed now.
I
Oh
think
dear.
that we've been so conditioned now to so much death at the end of a YA that it's a
Yeah.
bit shocking really to read something like this and
It's
everybody's
from reading
okay.
Cynthia's.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
what it
that's
is.
Yeah.
It's
it.
from
That's
reading
it.
Cynthia's.
Yeah.
Cynthia's books have got lots of death in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the librarian would have been like strung up in the library with the microfilm round her neck.
Oh dear. Oh yeah, that needs to be in Cynthia's next
In the
book.
new one.
Yeah.
There is always a librarian, or a library at least.
Yeah. Do you know what? Honestly, I've always wanted to be killed off in someone's book, like literally
Oh,
in the first chapter as well, because I'd never survive a horror movie, like
Well,
never.
Shelley, I need
So-
names for my new book, so I'll put you
Yes!
in. I'll kill you off.
Kill me off in a
Yeah.
really gruesome death. I really want it to happen, not in real life, just to add in a pretend way. But yeah, I've always, it's like my dream, like just, but I'd never get past the first chapter, so yeah, I would never survive the first scene in a horror movie. Our cozy Liverpool home says the tuna allergy would suggest possession rather than reincarnation, as if she was reincarnated since birth. Why would she not still have the allergy? Yeah. Oh, I reckon they changed it.
It's just a clumsy way to do it, I think. I think she was like, oh, how do we show that this is actually Laura and not...
And then potato salad, yeah, that's with like mayonnaise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Lisa's put, I'm going to start calling my mayo addiction salad addiction. Makes me feel better. I like that. Yeah. Oh, and on that note, the final question I am asking tonight is, because I can't give him more than 5 minutes of my time, but Brock, was he hot Point Horror Boy or not Point Horror Boy?
no.
Not Georgia?
Yeah.
No.
Not.
Yeah. Absolutely. Blech. Up there with Frank. Yes.
Yeah.
He was just...
Did not like him.
Yeah,
He was very two-dimensional,
self-centered.
wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. I did like how he kept going, I'm really sorry, you know I have an anger problem. I'm trying to work on it.
Oh, so bad. And then
But
also
then he was
as
never
well.
particularly angry about anything.
No.
Apart from
like,
with the steering wheel that he was gripping really hard. He was angry with that.
Yeah, and that's when Delia kind of said something about, I remembered what I'd read about serial killers, how they could be charming and then suddenly change. And I was like, oh, nice. I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larissa's put totally forgot about him. Joanna's put like absolutely not.
Yeah.
Brock the bozo, yes.
Yeah.
And that is all we will say on Brock, because he's up there with Frank from April Fools as horrible, not very nice. But anyway, I realise we've like been chatting forever, but this book needed much discussion, because I was like, how am I going to do this, because it was so complicated. But I chuck Brock in the lake of the piranhas. Yes, that's what we're going to do with Brock. Yeah, in the piranhas he goes.
Shelley, have you seen the first episode of Wednesday yet?
No, but I know it's got piranhas in it.
So I thought of you immediately. I was like, Shelley will love this.
Yeah, so if you listen to our episode of the podcast that I did with Cynthia and Georgia on the Delete My Podcast History, I talk a lot about piranhas and my obsession since we read a certain book in Point Horror. I won't spoil it in case people haven't read it. But yeah, do check that out, because we had such a laugh talking about washing machines and
all sorts.
And
all sorts. Licorice, all sorts.
Licorice. Yeah, it went on a tangent, didn't it?
It was good. It was brilliant.
But it was good fun. Yeah, it was good fun. But thank you both for like joining us and like chatting. And I quite like the diary overall, just for its like, you know, craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could have been worse. Let's put it that way.
I don't know. Yeah, it could have been. Yeah,
it could have been. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and do check out George's books, and obviously I'm trying to pick them up, and Cynthia's books, and do pre-order the Midnight Game as well, because it's absolutely fantastic. And I think, as I said to Cynthia, like all Cynthia's books to me are 5-star, but I think that one is my favourite now. Ooh. I just think it's my favourite. Yeah. If I had to pick, I think it is. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
But thanks for joining us, and thanks for everyone joining in as well. Enjoy the fab comments. And we'll see you again next month. And I think we're doing Freeze Tag next month. We'll have another guest on, so yay! All right, guys.
Thanks,
you.
Cynthia.
Bye.
Thanks, Georgia.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Thanks, Shelley. Bye. Thanks, Cynthia. Bye.
Bye.